Hello, family and friends, because as we know, the only people that are going to be listening to the first episode are family and friends. This is a new podcast. This is the podcast that my bookkeeper said I could not afford to start. This is also the podcast that is rumoured to be a reason for us to stay away from our wives, families and fiancés, but that will be up for debate during the show. This is Slam Jam, the podcast. Sitting with me today are my two co-hosts, Ty Ederolde and Colin Kugler. My name is Adam Hall, and this year we are going to be following the MLP season. Amongst other things, we'll also take in the NLP season and the Australian Championships for pickleball, etc. But really, we thought on the back of a brand new league starting up, courtesy of Pacific Pickleball, in conjunction with Major League Pickleball, we thought we'd start our own podcast and really deep dive into a bit of critical analysis, a bit of fun, probably take the mickey out of players, teams and the like, hold the administration accountable and really have some fun with this. So introducing my first co-host, he goes by the DJ name of Cocoa Butters. Mr. Colin Kugler, welcome to the podcast.
Ooh, I hope my tunes is smooth in your ears like my DJ abilities. Thank you very much, Adam, for organizing this. I'm looking forward to giving my 2 cents here and there. I've been playing pickleball for, I'd say, a little over 4 years now, ever since my mom gave me a wooden paddle that she flew over from the States. And now I still have that paddle, but I don't use it anymore. But I enjoy the game. I enjoy meeting new people, and I look forward to talking about the future upcoming tournaments and the leagues that are happening here in Australia.
Awesome to hear. I look forward to seeing this wooden paddle one day. I never knew that you started with a wooden paddle.
Yeah, well, you know, what's the term when you never win a game? Is it a wooden spoon? It was similar to that, but a bit bigger, like a paddle. And I literally rocked up to the Miami courts with it, and I believe Ty was next to me. And I literally thought that's what everyone used in pickleball until we met Mike Newell, and he had some carbon fiber, and I thought he was cheating.
He was.
Until he kindly told me how this game is played, the rules, and the equipment that you're allowed to use. And we've come a long way since then.
Plus his bionic hip that he got. So that was also...
That was a fresh hip.
Yeah, that was so dumb.
And Ty Ederolde, another co-host of this fabulous podcast. You might know us from Slam Jam, the event that normally takes place in Currumbin. The last one... I don't want to say the last one was the last one, but we were on notice after the last one, weren't we?
Yeah, because like really, if you took the average blood alcohol level of the players, I mean, honestly, what was the over/under? 0.07.
Yeah, give or take.
Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know I had a wicked hangover both days, so it lived up to its name. I would say. Am I too far away? There we go.
A little bit.
First of all, Adam, awesome for putting this thing together. Your intro was fantastic.
Thanks.
You went from pre-meeting,
Scramble.
Yeah, pre-meeting scramble. I would say maturity was around a 20-year-old, and then you got very, very serious when it came to the intro. So appreciate you doing that.
I'd really like to describe myself in this chair as the producer that brings YouTube back into line and puts us back on a run sheet.
I think
fair.
Holly always wanted to get into radio, and this is probably the closest thing he's ever going to get.
And I feel like I'm in the principal's office because Colin and I are sitting here next to each other, and we're just being judged over here by
the little work we did to prepare for this.
By the way, before he met me, one of the first things he said, he listened to a podcast I was on for the business, and he goes, "Wow, you really what did you say?
You sound like a better bloke on a podcast than you do in real life. Like you present better
exactly.
in a podcast
Yeah,
format.
So get to know me and you'll be sadly disappointed. Yeah, is what he meant.
And
we might be able to do link in bio for that old podcast.
Yeah, we could.
Check the link in our bio. We don't even have an Instagram yet.
Yeah, true.
Actually, we better get an Instagram before somebody takes it.
What we should do is actually get an official name, because before this, Colin wanted to.
I had a
he
few
was throwing
names.
a yellow flag on the even being called the Slam Jam podcast.
With all our subscribers, obviously, we're going to be getting after episode 1. It'd be great if they can just like this and also comment maybe a future name. I have a few up there. I like 3 Mates, 1 Pickle.
That's naughty. That's a naughty reference.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's going to get it, but if you get that reference,
I'm not even sure I'm going to subscribe.
just let us know. What?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I'm not sure. We don't even.
You're
know
the
name
closest to
of
40, though. You wouldn't know how to subscribe.
Fair statement. All right. Well, we'll stick to Slam Jam. How about Slam Jammers? Or we'll work on it.
True. I also, my pickleball background is it's not much of one.
Tell us. Sorry.
It's not much of one. However, it is important to note that I do have the first ever nudie run at Currumbin Courts. So we lost 11-0.
Are you looking at me like I was with you?
I think you beat me.
Okay, thank you.
And I think
Jesus.
then as a joke, as we always say, nudie run. And I took it very seriously because I knew there was history to be made. And I did a full lap.
You did a full moon.
Full moon, full lap. And I feel like at this point, it's the highlight of my pickleball life.
Ever since then, they've put cameras up.
Yeah.
I know. They didn't have a zoom strong enough.
No zoom technology on those cameras.
I've got a few warnings with those cameras, so they're live and well. They are working.
They're nice courts, super nice courts. They were kind of the first. Were they the first in Queensland that were dedicated pickleball?
I think Miami were.
No, I think Bean Lee was.
Miami had 2.
No, I reckon Bean Lee was. Let's get on to task. Let's talk about what happened back on the 11th of January. So the 11th of January was the draft. It was a live event, and it was hosted by one of our favorites, the beautiful Gordon.
Oh,
Gordo.
He was the official draft
Can
commentator.
we agree? The sexiest man in pickleball. Is that just unanimous?
Can we also agree how hard of a job that would be?
Yes.
Just to say like, oh, that's a great pick every time, because you couldn't just say no, that's a
couldn't say
horrible
that.
pick.
Yeah.
And there were horrible picks.
There were, but it was very professional and enlightened me on some of the players that I actually never heard of before. So I thought,
Well, we're gonna
done.
pretend that we know them all.
Okay.
Personally.
I really appreciated the fact that all people on the draft, I guess, coverage had to, just figure out on the fly some of these last names that were being mentioned. Like I had no idea where I'd start with
Sanj, she was super confident in the delivery.
the commish.
Yeah, the commish.
Commissioner Sanj Carter. Big shout out.
Big shout
Friend
out.
of the podcast.
Did she give everyone hope that you were going to get selected? Because God, she was good.
Yeah, she was
Followed
good.
you up. Hey, can you put up your photo? Can you do your players' details? I was like, oh, Sanj,
They just
do you
wanted
know
your
something
photo.
more than I know?
That's just a cheap way to get Colin's
Well,
photo.
I got a confession to make. I mean, I didn't nominate for the draft, but I know you two did. You're on the official draft list.
Yeah.
So I'm basically a free agent.
So still available.
Still available. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm not even on the alternate list. We'll get into what the alternate list is.
Yeah,
I'm on another list.
That's just a power move.
It's a colour list.
Sponsorship list?
Yeah, I'm in the sponsorship lounge. Me and Steve Smith. We'll talk about him as well. I text him. He hasn't texted back. I said, welcome to the club. See you in the
Welcome to
sponsors
the high
lounge.
rollers table.
Nothing.
Nothing yet.
Nothing back. But so what happened was 12 new teams, or should I say 8 new teams, 4 existing teams, and 48 players were picked. Now, prior to the draft, there was 12 captains that were nominated. So on draft day, there was only 36 picks. I believe there was somewhere around 300 nominations of players that want to get drafted. And I have it on very good authority from a friend of the podcast that in the lead up to the draft, the commish, she actually asked all captains for a confidential but preemptive list of who those captains were considering for each team. And approximately 75 players were sort of on that list, if that makes sense. So out of the 36 that ended up getting picked up by the 12 captains, there was actually 75 players. So if you're listening to this and you're a player and you got told by one of these captains, I was going to pick you, I think that was genuine. It wasn't bullshit to try to make you feel better. And I'm not sure if either of you boys got a message from any of the captains to say, look, I was going to pick you, but then this happened. Like,
My phone's been on airplane mode for a while
To be
now.
honest, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. So maybe there's a couple of other people that we can speak about that maybe got those messages, etc. Because we do know that there was, of course, lots of players that missed out, unfortunately, and quite notably, players that were a part of season 1 in 2023 that missed out. I mean, I think approximately half the players got drafted who played in it last year, and half didn't. And what's interesting about that is there's actually even more teams. So there's a few more spots. So what happened was it was opened up. It was opened up to a few international type players. And that was a bit of a point of conjecture about whether or not this newly formed league was really ready to expose itself to international players. Because for every international player that got picked, it took away a spot for a local player, an Australian-based player, should I say. But I think it's awesome that this league is encapsulating New Zealand and Asia. There's 6 events this year. 4 of those will be in Australia, 1 will be over in New Zealand, and 1 will be in an Asian country. I think it's yet to be decided.
I thought it was decided Vietnam.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that is not the MLP.
Okay.
I think that is
A boys' trip.
That's a brocation. Absolutely no. It's no. That is with Jan Papi, who has the like he calls it the World Championships.
who?
He calls it the World Jan Papi. That's his league.
Oh,
Yes, he's the one that hosted the Bali.
Bali trip,
Yep.
the Thailand.
Thailand,
He
yep.
brought it to the Gold Coast in Pimpama,
Yeah.
and then he's gonna do one in Vietnam.
Pimpama.
He's an international
It's
pickle icon.
Pimpama.
That is the American accent just butchering a local suburb.
Pimpama.
It's Pimpama, like grandma.
Pimpama.
Pimpama.
Pimpama. Okay, so we might not.
We'll just
we
say
might-
Asia
yeah,
is open that tournament. We don't know
If
exactly.
you're listening to this and you're part of the MLP, do not book a ticket to Vietnam.
No, well,
Well, book it if you want to join
yeah,
the boys.
book it. Yeah,
not,
because
not
we,
yet.
yeah, and we
not
are,
yet, because that is totally unconfirmed.
and we should have our own draft for our brocation.
Okay. Our first event is happening in Sydney on the 23rd to the 25th of February. Now, we're going to go through team by team and talk about the players that were picked up. We're also going to talk about some of what we think is going to be the result of this matchup and potentially some, I guess, predictions on what the scoreline might be. But first of all, I want to make a big, big shout out to the number 1 draft pick, Lucas Pascoe, hailing from the Gold Coast, still in school,
Yeah,
goes to Marymount, I believe,
yeah.
Catholic schoolboy. We have all played with and against Lucas for last 2 years,
Yeah.
and we could all see it in him, right? We could all see that
the
if
growth.
he took this seriously, then he's going to be dominating us. Yeah, but Lucas Pascoe, I mean, he's only age, I think he turned 17 this year, to be honest. But yeah, he's put in the work. He was first pick.
Well deserved.
And totally well deserved. And it's going to be really exciting to sort of see how he goes this season. But the draw was released last week. So we have round 1 and we have round 2. And there's some really, really interesting matchups here. I'll just quickly take you through what I think is probably the biggest matchup in round 1, which would be the Sydney Smashers versus the Brisbane Breakers. That is going to be a huge, huge clash because both teams are absolutely stacked with talent. But first of all, we might kick off with the first match,
Yep.
the Southern Stars versus the Gold Coast Glory. And if I could just throw over to you, Colin, to take us through the players that were selected for the Southern Stars, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do apologize if I butchered your name, but I'm going to try my best.
This is what we're here for.
This is exactly
what
we're
builds
here for.
content.
I cannot wait.
So we all know Jai.
Oh, it's Jay.
Well, Jai,
G.I. Joe.
I call him a bully because he whooped my butt in Bali. But such a legend to play with and play against. Real positive guy. So he was the captain of the team.
Can we also make sure that you're saying last names? I mean, don't skimp out
Yeah.
on butchering names, but
Yeah, we have
I
to
apologize,
hear it.
Jay, but I'm gonna call you Grey Wall. Kind of like Griswold.
This is how nicknames get started.
Yeah. By the end of this, also, I want to go with who has the best nickname, and maybe we can create one because there's a gentleman. His last name's Wild on one of these teams.
you've already got your
Joey.
brains ticking. I can
Yeah.
tell.
So I'm thinking, but followed by Jai/Jay. We have Zio Yi Yang Beckwell.
That is perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
I will say I've never played with her or against her yet, so I look forward to seeing her skills out there. If she's been picked by Jai, then obviously she's got to be a good quality player. Her duper rating 5.41, very strong.
That is very strong.
Then we have through New Zealand, we have Connor Robert Shaw. I actually have witnessed him playing in Brisbane. There was a tournament that we are looking forward to potentially playing against him, Ty and myself, but I think we're on two sides of a pool and didn't get a chance to play him. But duper rating 4.82. And then last that rounds off that team is Yu Shi Hezi.
I like it.
And duper rating 5.19. And yet again, I have not played or seen her play, but I look forward to seeing them on round one of the Sydney tournament.
Very good.
Right. They got, so they are up against the Gold Coast Glory.
Now, this is a team that is heavily stacked. One of the original teams,
Yes.
captained by Sarah Burr.
Yeah.
of course.
And she's new to the scene. Not very decorated.
Some
Bit of an
might say.
underdog.
A surprising captain, you think?
Absolutely not. No. That is
Well
royalty.
deserved.
That is royalty there. Obviously, building a lot of her career with the Doc, Martin Clark. Now Sarah's leading the Gold Coast Glory, and she picked in the first round Danielle Townsend. And now, so Danny, she represents Australia in ping pong. Is that right? Or did I say ping pong? That's
Yeah.
probably
Table
shit.
tennis
Table
is the
tennis,
proper
yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Edit.
No,
That has to stick.
Yeah.
Table.
you made your bed. Ping pong. Ping pong's what you play at parties, mate. Table
that's-
tennis is what you win medals
That's
for.
beer pong,
Ah.
and that can be a whole other podcast if we want.
We need to record this in the afternoon, then we can have some beers, I think.
Yeah, true.
Can I just ask you, maybe both of you, the view on Sarah's first pick being Danielle,
Solid.
and solid, but there was a bit of a strategy behind it, and I guess a strategy that changed. You know, we kind of have a bit of an inside line or inside sight on this, in terms of. It was a bit of not a late call, but it was a change of mind from the skipper, Sarah Burr, to pick Danielle. And correct me if I'm wrong, Ty, because I think you know a little bit more than me, but it was more or less based on how shallow, per se, the talent pool on the women's side is versus the men's. So most people, I think, would have thought that Sarah would have picked a male first, but she picked Danielle, and I guess there was a little bit of strategy, as far as I think I'm aware, in that. What kind of was that from your point of view?
Well, look, I think Danielle was a good first round pick. I think she had been messaging a few of the players that she was thinking about, but was actually surprised that Danielle was still there in the draft. And yeah, with especially on the local level, having someone who's such high caliber that you can actually train with, that is a female. I mean, that was just a super solid pick on her behalf. So I thought it was a great pick. Now, third round, she chooses Alex Fairbanks. He's an absolute weapon. I know he's
out of Sydney.
He's out of Sydney. He's a singles specialist. He's got a 5.14 duper rating. I saw him play some really good games. I think he played one really good game with Mike, I believe. They did have a win. I can't remember over who, but yeah, he and look, he's obviously a tennis convert. You could tell even by his stroke, but he's again covers so much ground. He's long, he's lanky, and the last pick. Now this is a surprise, and we should definitely get into this. Is Roman Estareja. I'm going to say that. So that was Hispanic, right? So that was my Spanish. And if you were to ask him, if we were to get Roman on the podcast, I'd say, what's your last name? He'd say Estareja.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you guys brought me. That's why you guys brought me there.
Spanish wild card.
Unless he's like a white boy, in which case he'd be like, that's how my grandma pronounced it. Right? Now, this is my, look, and we can say this because we're American. This is my big shout out to you Americans who are coming over here.
Who are not going to listen to this podcast.
Yeah, who won't. But let it be known that I said, you guys better bring your shit. I'm being dead serious. You've got a duper rating of 5.75. You're hot shit. But don't come to another country with an overinflated duper. Because if Aussies are really good at one thing, it's taking the piss out of people who are overconfident, because the Aussie way, in my opinion, is call yourself the underdog, have a laugh at yourself, and then overperform. Americans, we're just the opposite. We'll mouth until it's time to show, and then some bring it, some don't. But if you are saying you're a 5.75, you better bring that shit, man.
Just to clarify, are they saying they are, or is that just
that's what their rating is?
But that would be through playing tournaments, and they got the rating that way.
That's their official duper rating.
I mean, if I played Adam Hall 10 times, it was all duper, I'd be like a 6.0.
Oof.
Yeah,
well,
maybe.
At that point, you'd be world champ because you'd be undefeated.
You wouldn't have a
That was
paddle
a dig.
sponsor though.
Yeah, well, I'd be playing on my wooden paddle.
That's true. So anyway, now look, I'm sure he's an absolute weapon. 5.75 would mean he would be one of the absolute best in Australia. He should be technically able to towel up most men here.
And Taco, you've just put him on notice. You better bring
100%.
his shit.
And you better come
Capital
pronouncing
S.
that fucking last name right as well. Don't come to me with this white boy crap. Roman, looking forward to meeting you, by the way. Welcome to Australia, buddy.
And just to summarize, I think I guess one of the I guess better listens and I guess critical analysis that's really happening behind the scenes, and this is the best bit about I guess a new league. Ben Costin, he was part of the Brisbane Breakers last year. He nominated for the draft. He disappointingly wasn't selected for a team. And he's had a lot to say in regards to the draft, I guess the makeup, the way it unfolded. And I personally have really enjoyed listening and reading a lot of what he's got to say. And he's actually put together what he thinks will be, I guess, some predictions, some results out of round one. And I'm just looking at it now. You know, from his point of view, he thinks that the Southern Stars are basically going to get smashed. They're going to get smashed by the Gold Coast Glory. It's going to be a 4-zip scoreline. No need to play a dream breaker or anything like that. So, yeah, in both gender doubles, both mixed doubles, it's going to be a walloping. What are your predictions on the scoreline, boys? Do you share Ben's confidence that the Gold Coast Glory can basically obliterate the Southern Stars?
I believe Gold Coast will win. Not sure convincingly 4-0. I'd say 3-1. But after reading what he's written here, he's got some fair points. Like I said, I don't know a lot of these players as of yet on the Southern Stars other than Jay. But I do know, I believe Sarah and Danielle will definitely take it for the girls, or women's, I should say. But yeah, 3-1 is my prediction.
Look, if it goes to a dream breaker, Jay's going to smash them all in singles. Jay's the best singles player on that of the 8.
The thing is with a dream breaker, though, you know, you only get to play 3 points and then you rotate it out. So he might win his 3 points, but can the rest of his team really pull the slack and also win some points to.
All right, what's the next match? We gotta get a move on.
Yeah,
with
we
these-
do. We
with
really
these
do. So
matches.
Melbourne Mavericks versus New Zealand Hustle. I'll take you through the Melbourne Mavericks. Captained by Aaron Blitz, last year's Melbourne Mavericks captain. He's picked up Damian Spizzo, Tina Bianchi, and Coco Lococo.
Took my name, I know.
Damn.
That's my boo thing right
Coco
there.
is one of our favorite. What an
That is,
awesome name.
yeah.
There isn't many better names in Major League Pickle than Coco Lococo. Over on the New Zealand Hustle. Very impressive team, by the way, and I think they're mostly 3 out of the 4 of them are New Zealand based. So they've got a real strong opportunity to actually train a lot together, train well together, and come over here and really put on a good showing. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys can finish the season, in the top 3 or 4 teams, to be honest. But we've got Matt Carter, we've got Kyle Watnow,
What no?
Anna Clarice Petremino.
Hello, Clarice.
Is Kyle have the highest duper rating?
Kyle Watnell apparently is an absolute weapon. This was Mike Newell's gun. He had him scouted as being.
Is he ex-tennis? Has Mike got something to do with him from a tennis background?
I'm not sure, but Colin, why don't you just create his background?
Well, based on
Yeah,
his
how old does he
shoulders,
look?
he looks like an ex-Olympic swimmer.
Okay, so he's an ex-Olympic swimmer.
He's transitioned from butterfly to freestyle, and because of that maneuvering in the water, he is slippery on the courts.
That's right. And he has webbed feet. Fun fact.
That is true.
Don't know if any of that's true at all. And then we're rounded out by Alexis Contrato. Is that Spanish, Ty?
Well, I
said
can
it's
try it
Spanish.
if you want.
Maybe Italian.
Contratto, but
Yeah,
I think
maybe
that
Italian.
is Italian.
Now, we'll confess, we don't know too many players in that team besides the Melbourne
I
Mavericks,
have
of
played
course.
with Matt Carter. I played with him in the Gold Coast Pimpama, that Float World Championship game.
Yeah.
We were on a big teams event together. Super Salt, very long. He takes a lot of the dinks out of the air. Very consistent. Not an overly aggressive player. Passive,
Not many
consistent,
speed ups.
solid. Great dude. But as far as Clarice, I have no idea.
Looks like Matt Carter is also sponsored by Selkirk.
Oh, why do you bring that up?
Well, if you have a Selkirk t-shirt and a Selkirk paddle, I just assume he's a Selkirk athlete.
Yeah.
I thought it might have something to do with you hitting this.
Oh, it's a great paddle, and if Selkirk listens to this and they want to donate a paddle,
That's why I'm sponsored by Billabong.
please, lefty paddles only.
You hit that. There, the paddle that looks like a freaking cheese board, right?
Yep, love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
I actually served cheese on it to
Nice.
Lindsay.
Nice. Bit of brie. Ultimately, I think the New Zealand Hustle are probably going to be too good for that. If you look at the strength of the men's pairings, I think that's where it'll be. It'll be a bit of a dominant performance there, and then I guess in the mixed, if the boys can sort of lead from the front there, I would expect them to do pretty well too there. So, favorite friend Ben Costin predicts that it'll be 3-1 to the Hustle. on
The
that
Hustle.
one.
Wow. I'll check Sportsbet to see what it's paying.
Yeah.
I think you might have to go to the Northern Territory to get some odds on that one. Very underground sport at the moment. Our next encounter will be the Western Vipers versus the Southeast Asia Surge. The Southeast Asia Surge, of course, had the first pick, and they chose Lucas Pascoe. So if you can take us through the rest of that team, Colin.
I knew that was going to be the case.
Must be some difficult last names.
Yep. We'll start off with the captain, P. Chun Koa.
And that is just how her mom pronounced it.
Yes.
I think it's Pay.
Pay. I have seen her play. She is a weapon on the court. Very good with the dinks and the speed up. So her and Lucas as a pairing, I think is going to be unstoppable.
What's her biggest strength? The dink.
I'd say her backhand.
Backhand.
Very strong.
So on the backhand, she makes you pay.
She makes you pay, and she moves you around with it. And she can, if she wants to go line all day with that backhand, she can. And when you're on the kitchen and you're facing your competitor, and you have to dictate where your front hand with that paddle is. It going to be inside towards your chest? Are you ready for a backhand going middle, or are you going to have it outside? And she kind of off speed sometimes. So yeah, that's going to be a big matchup for people. On to the next name that I will butcher. Ura. And lastly, that rounds that off is Ewing Heshing Sikang.
Perfect.
And I have not seen them two play yet, but yeah, looking forward to seeing them in Sydney. And it looks like 3 right-handeds and 1
But
lefty.
what we do know, again, Lucas.
He's number 1 pick for a reason.
Yeah, we've seen him play so many times. Everyone knows he's got this hidden backhand dink that you literally have no idea if he's going cross court, down the middle, or right at you if you're in front of him.
Or in your face.
Or in your neck.
Yeah.
He is so, it's like, he's like a
Unpredictable.
viper movement with that thing, and you almost just have to be ready for it. There's no relaxing place on the court to be when you're playing with Lucas.
My only, I guess, feedback if you do play him is get in a crouching position, because if it is going head high, you can duck always. But when I play against him, I try to stay as low as possible.
It is really hard to even see it coming. I mean, it's a backhand speed up that comes towards your chest, your face, and if you don't hit it, you're at risk of it just dropping in just before the baseline.
Yeah.
Sometimes he hits it long, but you don't see it coming. I always love Mike Newell when he's talking about what balls are appropriate to speed up, and he has that green zone above the hip.
Yeah.
He's got the orange zone hip to knee, and he's got the red zone knee to feet. And I would argue that Lucas Pascoe can turn red amber zones into speed up zones.
Yeah.
Like, he has an uncanny ability just to roll, and it'll catch a lot of players off guard.
And he's so relaxed for a young dude. I've never seen him get fired up. He just seems so chill.
Is he now a sponsored athlete?
Yeah, I think he's with Jula. Or is it Jula or Eula?
Whoa.
No wonder
We
you haven't
better
got
hit
any
this
free
thing
If
stuff.
you
Yeah.
spell something with a J and you don't want me to pronounce it, then maybe don't start it with a J.
My
I'm
rule
going with
is
Jula.
the country of origin wins, and I don't know where they're from. So this is just open for debate. Again, what we say goes. So let's lock it in. Are we going to go Eula or Jula? I'm going to vote Eula. Why? Sounds exotic.
Yeah, I think Eula with my speech impediment is easier to say.
Eula.
Eula.
Okay, that's 2. Well, it doesn't matter your vote.
Yeah, it
Holly
doesn't matter. I would
does
have actually
not.
gone Jula.
And if you do say Jula, it's 5.
Sounds like a
push-ups.
Jolly Rancher. Jula.
Jolly Rancher? What's a
Yeah.
Jolly Rancher?
Never had a Jolly Rancher? That's for another podcast, another day.
Wow. Okay.
Missing out
but
in your
anyway, and
childhood.
then they are playing the.
The Western Vipers.
Yeah. So
Yep.
so now I know that is Andy Horge's team. So Andy, little guy.
Second round pick for the boys trip. He's on my list.
He is. You know what?
dude.
We
He's a
had
dude.
such a good time with him at Slam Jam. This was, I think, might have been his first one. I don't know how old he is, but he was drinking like he was barely legal, and
He's pretty good on the beer pong table
he
too.
is an flip cup Navy champion, beer pong toweled it up. But what a great attitude, man! He was just Anyway,
Legend.
He really enjoyed himself. I love his attitude. He is a tennis player. I think he and his sister were pretty high level tennis players. Have switched it to full time pickleball out on an island out there in where are they? They're just in WA. Do we know where though?
Well, you just said an island. I was going to say Perth, but Perth is an island, so
Sure it is. No?
no.
Okay.
They are trying to secede
what
as a
we say
state.
goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he has on his team Casey Rogers and 5.29 duper. Is she the Canadian?
We might have to.
I think she is. I think she is.
She looks nice, like
Also
so Canadian.
Yeah. That's,
she would
that's
say-
such a fair shout.
Apologies.
Yeah, she is.
And
Sorry.
she's using
She
your
is
cheese
Canadian
board paddle
type.
as well, the Selkirk. So yeah, so she is. Again, Mike, we'll have to get him on the podcast. He seems to have everyone pretty well scouted. By the way, westernvipers.pb on Instagram, they have 158 followers. I think that might be in second place right now behind the Sydney Smash.
Oh, the Glamour team.
Exactly. And then we also have Michael Russ. He's got a 4.54 Duper rating. Now, that is maybe one of the lower Duper ratings.
What are you?
I mean, what am I?
What's your Duper?
I'm a 7.2, but no one knows it.
I'm going to call BS to that.
That's
I'm
fair.
Actually,
How high does it go? Does anyone know?
you're a 4.674.
That's bullshit.
Well, that's what you are.
No, I didn't think
and for
I didn't-
singles, you're unrated.
That's very true. That is very true. Now, skipping around a little bit, that might be the lowest Duper rating. But again, he could be out there in WA, and Andy's thinking, "Hey, I need someone to hit with."
Totally.
Right? So that could actually be maybe the best pick, because if you're out there, let's call it what I said, on an island without training, taking someone from a 4.54 to a 4.8 or 9, I mean, literally, that's just reps, man. That's just reps. So if they're out there taking it seriously, man, they could be a little dark horse team out here. Not trying to sound like Gordon Watson and just thinking everyone's amazing, but that is actually that's actually probably a good shout. I am hoping he lives out there in WA with Andy.
I just really can't wait to find out if Andy actually lives on an island. I feel like that's...
No, for this story he does.
Yeah, okay.
For this story he does, yeah.
And apparently he rose to the mainland for training.
He actually
And
did.
groceries.
He actually, no, he rode a dolphin.
Okay, our friend Ben Costin, he thinks it'll be 3-1 to the Surge in this one. Moving along, we've got the Northern Crocs versus the Fast Fours. Northern Crocs... They feature one of our favourites, actually. She was a newcomer on the scene last year. It always throws me I know how to pronounce her first name because it's Rose, right? But it's like kangaroos. That's how it reads, Roos.
Again, while she's here, we're going to call her Roos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Roos van Rijk, she's Dutch. She, however, didn't pick herself. Summer Dallabonna, she picked
The captain.
Rose in her first pick, which was a fabulous decision. Summer, a very, very accomplished singles player. So if it goes to a dream breaker, look out.
She was great to watch. I watched her have such an amazing. It might have been a final against Amelia, and it was I think it was a 3-setter or something like that. And man,
They've had some epic battles, actually.
An epic battle, man. Both of them were so good, and in Summer, I think, got her in the end.
Then we've got a gentleman from India, huge pickleball community over in India, and we can't wait to see what a number of Indian players who are part of the MLP this season sort of bring to the table. And it's actually a huge travel schedule when you think about where they'll be coming from just to play in these 6 events. So my hat's off to them. But we've got Armin Bhatia. He's coming over, and we've also rounded out by Nielsen Chen.
Okay, now
Crocs.
Now Nielsen, I've seen play, and I don't know if I ever played against him while playing in Asia. I have seen him play. He's long. He's quite a tall dude,
Really?
and fast. I mean, he is one of the everyone who knows Ton.
Yep.
He's very bouncy.
hand-eye
He's very
coordinated.
bouncy.
Yep.
He's in one place one moment. He's in the next place the next, and lots of movement. Obviously, sometimes leading to a lot of errors. Super exciting player. My question is, these guys, Arman and Nielsen. So are these guys jumping on a plane every couple of weeks, or are they planning on staying here?
Good question. We
For a
probably
bit.
have to ask the skippers. The skippers would probably know.
Because that's
Well, the tournaments are spread out.
that's got to
fairly.
come into it, right?
Well, they're not going to be practicing with each
How
other.
do you
that's
do
for
that?
Sure.
How'd you do that draft day? We're like, hey, my pick's coming up in 4 picks. I'd like to choose you,
Yeah.
but do you have the funds? What's your work schedule? I'm guessing pickleball isn't supporting you and your family at the moment. You know what? How do you even have that conversation?
Well, I mean, I do know for a fact after talking to the commish, Sanj Carter, the MLP did a mountain of work to pre-qualify everyone and make sure that they could actually self-fund their travel arrangements, because while there's a huge prize pool on offer, $700,000 across these 6 events, and hopefully all players can, invariably have some success and actually win some prize money. But basically, you've got to come into this from the point of view of your self-funding. And I do know that, they take it very seriously over there at the MLP. And, basically you have to share your flight details even ahead of time to make sure that you've booked.
Yeah.
There's no flight risk. We don't turn up on the 23rd of February and we've got 5 internationals missing because they're just like, oh, shit. I thought the Qantas tickets would be a bit cheaper than that.
Yeah. By the way, captains, if they can't make it, you got Adam Hall. He's got a 3.91 duper and he is ready.
Free agent. Oh, yeah.
There you go. We look after our own here. That's for sure. All right, moving on. Who do we got next?
Well, they'll be playing Fast Fours.
The Fast Fours.
Fast
And this is a
Fours.
good team. And
Great
this
team.
this unearthed, I thought it was a new player I'd never heard of, never seen. We should talk about the skipper. He's not the player I'm talking about. George Wall.
Oh.
Now, far out. When
Dude,
George
on
came
the
on the
brick
scene,
wall.
holy dooly. Whenever you have a new player that comes on the scene, right?
Yeah.
And he partners for the first tournament with Doc Martin, he must be a weapon.
That's right. Yeah.
I
Highly
remember
recruited.
When
Doc's
he first came,
Doc's good for that.
he
Doc is very good for that. If you're playing with Doc, you've got some credibility.
well, Mike Newell always says it. Number 1 rule of pickleball: always pick a good partner.
Yeah, that's
And-
That's
right.
why he's never picked me yet. Still waiting for the
Look,
call up.
George Wall actually was a collegiate tennis player. So he was playing.
What
with
does
Dartmouth.
collegiate mean for our Australian listeners?
Yeah, you know what? Again, I have to dumb it down for you, Holly.
D1 offered, so he
So he would
got
have had a full ride scholarship to a college. So you didn't pay for your school in exchange for playing tennis for the school.
Right.
We could probably look up which college. I don't know exactly. which
Dartmouth.
one. So that's Ivy League. So that means he's a genius as well.
Right. He does look like a smart cookie.
He
There's a very
is.
big Harry Potter vibe around him. I mean, I think
a
he
bit
has
of wizardry.
Yes, he has a bag with multiple paddles, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has a little magic stick in there.
He's
Whipping it around.
Yeah.
He is a cool dude. And you know what, man? He is, he came onto the scene. He loves pickup. He actually had a pretty bad injury last year to his back, which is always a scary one. But last I spoke to him, he said, he's feeling good. And this is actually getting down the list. We got Michaela Hart. Have we seen her play?
Yeah. Mate,
Oh, of course we have.
she's a weapon.
Oh, hello. She was also the tennis stud, right? She has like her stroke. When I was watching her play singles, she stays back a lot. Like that's ingrained in her from tennis. But she was hitting shots with such power and spin. She could almost place it wherever she wants. She's
one to watch.
really good. Her and Summer were awesome newcomers. Of course, Amelia as well. And we also have Talia Saunders. She has a 4.86. Again, not sure where she's from.
I
don't know
believe
if
she
I've
played
seen
for the Melbourne Mavericks last year.
Did she?
actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's a part of the MLP.
Then we have Ollie Gray.
Ollie Gray. Now, this is the
Stud.
revelation for me.
Okay.
I had heard of Ollie Gray. Of course, I've heard of Ollie Gray.
Yeah.
Played against Ollie Gray, Runaway Bay, training, that elite group that I'm no longer a part of. Didn't get an invite. Yeah, Mike just shut it down one day and said, I'm just going to put the OGs back in this one. And I'm like, no worries, man. I'll wait for my invite. Never came.
There's still a friend request pending, Mike, if you just check your face.
But Ollie Gray, birth name is Barry Oliver George Gray.
Oh,
Fun fact.
wow.
And BOGG is the acronym then. Bog.
Bog.
My boy Bog. I think Barry's a far better name than Oliver, but he goes by Ollie Gray. He is, I think, a couple of years older, maybe 1 year older than Lucas Pascoe. But they are the two bright lights in Southeast Queensland pickleball. I think he's originally from North Queensland. Don't correct me.
No, I believe
Quote
you're
me.
right. I've seen the TV news report about him, and
Is he from Yeppoon?
Hey, watch your
We'll
mouth.
stick to it. We'll stick to that, but I know he's moved down to Brisbane, so he can really give pickleball a crack, and it's definitely working out for him so far.
Now, I do just want to make us look good, Colin, for 1 second, if I may. Of course,
We did ID him at Slam Jam.
We had to give Ollie and Lucas a lesson. We had them in the round robin, and as I remember the scoreline, it was Kugler Hall victorious over Pascoe and Gray. Now that is a 2022 scoreline.
Okay.
The summer,
They still talk about it, or
summer
at
of
least we
2022.
do.
But I will never forget it.
I didn't know that happened. So
Did we get them drunk before the game? In which case, they were definitely under 18 at that time.
They were definitely under 18.
if you said
we
it
don't
happened,
serve.
it's
We don't
definite-
serve drinks before 10:30 at Slam
Yeah,
Jam.
no.
Well,
Well, that would have been a good matchup.
quality control. Except for the quality
It
control team.
was a bad day for them.
Yeah.
That's what really probably humbled them.
Here's
and
the
then took
deal.
their-
Inspired them.
Now, here's the deal with Ollie. I love this little shit. Okay? I do. He's cocky. And that cockiness suits him well when he's playing players that are below that 4.5-ish thing. He's showboaty. You know what? That's just being young. That's
Yeah,
just
totally.
that's just being young. But as far as like talent, now this dude,
He's got talent off the chart.
but off the chart.
And
Now,
his physique, he's tall, he's rangy.
that dude can touch the net from outside the kitchen line, I feel, with his bare hand. He's actually from what I remember him telling me, he was a soccer goalie. So again, I mean, yeah, hand-eye, sure, but no paddle background. So which, I mean, look, same story with Joey Wild, who we'll get to, doesn't have this tennis background, but man, he's picked it up. He's super fast. Does he try too much shit? Yeah. And I think when he starts to play with guys who know him a little bit with the hands, with the skills, it'll be bad news for him. But if he just plays, and I think George is going to be awesome for him.
Great
man. I think
mentor.
George is just going to keep him in the game, keep it on court. And when you have your moments, fucking slam it
Yeah.
and celebrate it.
and celebrate it. Yeah.
I think you bring up some really, really good points, and I couldn't disagree with any of that. I do think, though, the best thing that all these younger players have got going for them is like this new wave, this sense of occasion. And I think it was a really inspired pick by George because, yes, he's got a super talented male player as part of his team, but he's also got someone that he's going to actually really have to work hard to nurture, to educate, to be a friend to at times, not just a teammate, because George is so well measured. George will do the right thing all the time, but he's got weapons too.
Yep.
Ollie's got weapons, but it's a bit of a question mark on whether or not he can do the right thing, which, sometimes the right thing is just actually dinking the ball back over and over and over instead of going for that money shot. But I also think that Ollie is going to have some seriously good highlights out of this season.
Yeah.
He's going to win them some games out of nowhere. I just would like to see him, do the team thing and really sort of just play a consistent game more often. Okay, Ben Costin reckons this will be a 2-2 scoreline. So this could be the first time we see a dream breaker. So that'll be very interesting because
Say if it does go to Dreambreaker, who do you like in singles?
George.
George
George
of
takes the
jungle.
cake. Yep.
Oh,
Always too young, too inexperienced. I think that's...
Remember, all players have to have a
Have to
hit.
hit, 3 points.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I think George will get him off to a
good
good start.
look. And Michaela
Yeah,
Hyatt.
I mean,
And I said Hart before. It's Michaela Hyatt. Yeah, she's so good. I mean, oh, man.
I don't know if it is Hyatt or Hart. I think it's hate.
Again, it's what I say goes. So it's
interesting.
She's not here to defend herself.
That's exactly right. You want to lock it in? Hate?
Yeah, hate.
Okay, cool. Lock it in.
Hate. I'm going to skip over the next one because I reckon that's a really good matchup to talk about last. Let's talk about the Asia Aces versus the Eastern Rush. Let's start with the Asia Aces here. We got Venice Chan. She's one of the two females behind Peeny Lee. We got Wesley Gabrielensi.
Number one player in the tournament.
Now I did see
6.
I did see on one of our great friends of the podcast, Shannon Burr,
Yep.
first man, I guess you'd say, of pickleball.
He's the first man.
Yeah, behind his
Oh,
lovely
that
wife,
is
Sarah Burr.
so good.
He has an awesome YouTube, and if you're listening, you should really check out The Cream of the Drop. Shannon,
such a
Great
dude.
listen.
Shannon has actually got 4 or 5 interviews that he's done so far. He actually had Wes on The Cream of the Drop, and I did happen to listen to that. And Wes is an international player. He's really excited about coming over. He's a little older, more mature player, but very well accomplished. I think he's actually in the Pickleball Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Is there such a thing?
Well, there is.
Well, there is now.
Yeah.
You're in, Wes.
Congratulations, Wes.
If you're not in,
to hear
you
that.
are.
Honestly,
Ian.
if you're in, let's say there's not a pickleball Hall of Fame right now. There's 3 people that needs to be. And I'm going to name them.
Okay.
Starting at the top, Sarah Burr. Next one, because without there's no Sarah, if there's no the Doc, Martin
Yeah.
Clark,
Yep.
and then the next one is got to be Wes.
The OG.
Totally.
Wesley Vine.
And then
Wesley
it's
Vine.
and then it's
No,
Wes.
you're
Wesley.
talking about Wes. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm leaving him out of it. He's another. Is he American? Look,
Yeah, he is.
He looks
you know how I was like way more confident to talk shit about the last American guy. I'm not nearly as confident as talking about this guy. However,
'Cause his duper rating is
However,
6.1.
However, no. I'll say it. Bring that shit. You better bring that. You better bring that. Okay, wait a minute.
He is.
Hang on, we have
in the Hall
breaking
of-
news. Hang on, hey guys. Hang on,
Breaking
guys.
news.
Hang on. We interrupt this podcast. We have verified proof that Wes Gabrielson is among the 2022 inductees to the Pickleball Hall of Fame. Wes, heavy editing here. We welcome you with open arms. I can't wait to be best friends. I consider Colin one of my best friends, but
If you bring that Hall of Fame jacket over
you
with
bring
you,
that jacket. You bring that jacket. You bring
I
that
might
trophy.
lose a best friend. Ty might take.
Well, now we can be the 3
Oh, we can
best
share.
friends that anyone could have.
Maybe then it's 4 mates, 1 pickle.
4 mates, 1 pickle. Now it's just getting maybe
He
too
can be
much
a
to
special
handle.
guest. We'll get him.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
well-
get on to
And
the next
David Yang. David Yang is the last one.
David
obviously
Yang.
an Asian player.
5,
You know what we
4, 2, 5,
haven't been
solid.
identifying is where the number 1 pick. What round did they pick? So she had the 6th pick, Chain, and she selected Wesley. So what was on the board for 6 picks, and the Hall of Famer was picked.
6. I mean, this guy is definitely the best player on the
I
court.
mean, based on Duper,
well, and experience. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're in a form of Hall of Fame,
Will he play like the best player in the tournament, though? At the end of the tournament, will we be talking about how good were the performances of Wes, or will we be talking about another player? Because I feel like we're going to be talking about someone way younger than Wes.
I mean,
No disrespect, Wes, to your age.
yeah, and I
that
do
was
see,
Adam Hall, by the way, not your mate Ty here.
You are.
Call me Wes.
Your nose is brown all of a sudden.
I do see a knee brace on Wes in his photo,
Oh,
which
shit.
could hold him back in singles.
Oh, but Doc wears a knee brace, but it's mental.
Doc wears
Mind
bloody
over matter.
Yeah, can you
ankle braces, 2 knee braces.
He's onto something.
guys, if I know anything about Wes, he doesn't like to be talked about this way.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
move
move
on.
Okay.
Call me later, Wes. Yeah.
Now this. I know this is our favorite team. Let's just put it on the table.
Wait a
This
minute.
is our favorite team, the
This is
Eastern
our-
Rush. I mean, look, we'll lie to everyone and say if you're listening and you're a captain of another team, you are our second favorite team.
Maybe.
You are. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, you are.
Yeah, maybe.
But this is our favorite team because it actually contains a lot of players that we actually know.
That's right.
And starting off with the skipper, Katie Hart, under the wing of the great Mike Newell. One of our favorites, a lefty with a vicious backhand, forehand. Like, she is an absolute beast when it comes to it. She's got that tennis background. She is a fierce competitor. When she gets going, she is hard to stop.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, it can be a little hard for her to get going, but I think she's complemented herself so well with all her teammates that she's going to be on from moment one, and I can't wait to see how she goes in this team.
She is a competitor.
Absolutely.
I mean,
You gotta love it.
oh God, you do. when she misses a shot or or has something she should put away, I mean, she's smacking her paddle on the side of her leg. She is so, she is such a presence on the court. She has so much emotion when she plays, and like you said, Adam, man, when she's going, she's going.
Yeah,
you can't stop that train.
Sneaky good at beer pong and flip cup.
Also true. Also
Competitor
true.
all
that.
across the board.
I love someone that has
And
a crack.
look, I'm gonna go in with the next one. This is he is aptly named in my family as Brown Daddy. This is my daughter's second daddy, Vish Masand. Look, if there's a game that we enjoy the most, it's pickleball with your mates, and us three plus Vish were the original Grudge. We call it a Grudge series. So what we do is we have a best of 10 series, and whoever wins gets to enjoy a free meal by the losing team. We've done this a few times. We start at 5 a.m. We really, it's funny how it started off just so enjoyable.
I think we start off. Let's teach Vish this game.
Let's see if Vish wants
See
to
if
do
this tennis player can play pickleball.
And Vish and I, the first tournament, we got third in the QPC. And right away, you knew that he was going to be super, super solid. But what a lot of people don't know, Vish was actually ranked 8th in India in tennis. So he's been playing everything paddle his whole life. Another fun fact about Brown Daddy, his parents were number 1 and number 2 in table tennis in India. So, I mean, everything's hand-eye. Everything's hand-eye in this family.
Racket sports, they just love.
And he's our brother.
Did you humble him in squash in Bali?
Yeah, I did. Look, he can get cocky from time to time. And every now and then, White Daddy needs to just give him a little spanking. Yeah, that's right. But anyway, as many would know, I've had lots of good games. Could not hold this guy back any longer. Way too good for me. Way too good for most. However, next to him on the men's side, Joey Wild.
I love Joey. I love
Joey.
I love the way he plays, but also love that he is the only player that plays with a bucket hat.
Oh,
with the zip up to his chin.
Chinny chin.
I think that little dangly cord would get in the way of my forehand, my backhand, my speed
Too
up.
focused.
But you won't find another bloke that wears the bucket hat. Joey Wild, and he is a weapon. He is a weapon. I would probably say he's got a pretty modest looking duper score at 5.36, but a great performer last year on the circuit in Australia. And I think him and Vish with a righty and a lefty.
I don't think anyone's going to beat him.
Well, I think it's going to be
I
hard
don't
to
think
beat
anyone
them.
beats him.
Is Joey Wild from the Gold Coast or Sydney?
He is Aussie, but he's been living in Austin, Texas.
Oh.
Playing extreme high levels.
Is that the Longhorns?
Longhorns,
You
baby.
guys like the Longhorns?
All right.
These colors don't run. Look, if anyone's gonna look, we're being partial, and damn well we should, right? Because this is our Brown Daddy, right? I don't think these guys lose, but
4-0.
I don't think these guys lose. Now,
What does Ben say who's going to win this matchup?
Ben-
Well,
actually
let's
thinks
finish.
2-2.
We got to finish the
2-2.
roster here.
Yeah, we do.
Because we have Naomi Mehta.
Naomi?
No. Naomi
Naomi.
Mehta. Now, she's from India.
Say my name.
She's from India. And Vish seems to remember her from some tournaments overseas and says she is an absolute weapon.
Well, she's unrated on the dupe.
So I guess this is the only player without a rating.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But says she's an
Besides myself.
absolute weapon.
Yeah.
So I have super high hopes only because
And we all know Vish is incredibly honest.
he's too honest.
So
He's
if he says she's a weapon, she's probably a weapon.
the amount of times I'd yell out and he'd be like, no, Ty, come on.
Based on her profile photo, she looks like a nice, innocent Indian princess.
Until she's going to slam it in your neck. But look, obviously, we're letting it be known. This is our team. These are our homies and homettes. We're really looking forward to it. And they are playing who
The Asia
in
Aces.
round one? In who?
The Asia races.
Boom.
Okay.
Now the final, I left this matchup for the very last because I thought this is the matchup of round one. This is the Sydney Smash versus the Brisbane Breakers, two of the original teams from last season. The Sydney Smash are the darlings of the competition. Now, you might have seen the news that a former Australian cricket captain and current Australian cricket player in Steve Smith has actually bought the team, I think in partnership with a couple of other people. But
Is that with crypto?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It could be. He also owns Koala Mattresses or has an ownership in that. So I think he actually used
I have one of
AUD,
those.
not crypto.
Yeah. And what does buying a team mean? What does that get you? How much do you reckon it costs?
Adam can
Yeah,
definitely
as a major sponsor. Could you fill us in?
I don't really know what it means. I think it means you will have to give us money.
Does he now split the winnings with these players? Technically, he owns them.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, we should probably start a GoFundMe for Steve. He probably is not doing too well.
No. I would just love to hit a speed up and just clobber him right between the chest and just see his reaction.
But then what do you say to him? What's your words? Because you're one of the most vocal guys on any... You can be heard from all courts.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of yells or war cries that you do, but you just nailed Steve Smith. Let's just say in the nose. He kind of goes down. He looks back up, and you say,
"You're right, champ." There's nothing better than champing someone.
Ooh,
it's really condescending.
That hurts.
Calling someone champ.
That's the worst. Yeah.
You were right, champ.
You were right. You're right there, squirt.
Yeah, champ.
Oh, Steve.
Champ hurts.
Steve, dude.
Protect your nose.
Yeah, Steve. Yeah, get down here, play against Holly. Look, he's 6'8", full of muscles, but nice blow. You won't be too intimidated by him, Steve. Back onto the team for the Sydney Smash with El Capitan, Mitch Hargraves, probably nominee for a early Hall of Fame. He's been cleaning up the last 2 years. His first pick was Amelia Schmidt, who's currently in the States playing some professional pickleball. So kind of following in Sarah Burr's footsteps. Next we have Annie Claire Meyer. She's got a 5.39 duper. Where's she from?
You're asking the question, and Colin has the answer.
Oh,
yes. So originally from Thailand,
Okay.
has traveled overseas and is now living in Parramatta.
oh, nice. Okay, pretty good
And
looking too. I'm
Annie,
just gonna
I
say it.
apologize. I'm just making that all up. It's good
and-
content, but
and-
we look forward to
And
seeing
look,
you
my
play.
wife's not listening. Good looking chick. All right, we got Jason Taylor.
No duper rating.
No duper rating, but
Man, I'm
looking
looking
like a
at his-
fierce athlete.
Yeah, but also look at his profile pic. I reckon that's a tennis picture.
Maybe.
I can't see the racket. It's
But-
behind his head.
But he's also, as you Aussies would say, a ranger.
Yeah, Ranger. Yeah, he
So-
is. Ginger Ninja.
So, I mean, that's got to be worth some points, right?
He looks tall.
He does look tall,
looks
lengthy.
tall.
He looks tall.
Yeah, he really does. So, Sydney Smash.
I think there's a question mark on whether or not he's actually available, though.
Ooh,
Is this your-
drama time?
Is this your chance?
Drama time.
agent?
So,
I
apparently,
What's
one
the
of these
little
dudes,
birdie?
Taco boy over here.
apparently one of these dudes had a known injury. This is all hearsay, right?
Yes.
But let me just
Allegedly.
quietly share it to all one of our viewers. Apparently, Jason had a known injury. He was selected because the captain wanted somebody else anyway, but wasn't sure they were going to be available for the draft. But the draft had happened, and this person was not in. Now that person is in. Do we actually know who it is? Who's the new, or is Jason the new?
No, I reckon
No, it's
Jason
someone
is who was picked on draft night. who
Yep, but is not
injured
on the team.
and is unavailable. I believe that to be the case. And who has replaced him? I'm not 100% sure.
Someone who's a gun, apparently. And
So it was
So
a
the
strategy
speculation is that potentially this was known that he was injured, and ultimately an alternate was going to have to be selected, and first choice on all alternate would go to the first player that was injured, and a new player has been selected who can replace Jason. But obviously, there's a large alternate list. So anyone who nominated, I believe, is on the alternate list.
Right.
And obviously, that there are a lot of players. Like some of the more notable players, I think, that actually didn't get picked up include, Martin Clark, Doc Clark, David Richardson, Ben Costin, Taylor Smith, Tarn's wife Leona, Beck Kingsley, Deb Rossi, Jane Ruberry, like just to name a few. I'm sorry to leave off a few. Mike Newell.
Yeah, Mike Newell.
Adam Hall.
There's some huge names that missed out.
We've seen in countless tournaments win, travel, and did not get picked up in this year's league.
I mean, look, a lot of it too, I'll say, it's team vibes, man. Like some people just play better with other people. Some of it's personality matching. Some people like the real aggressive, come on, man, let's go. Some people like, the over encouragers.
Speaking of team vibes, who did Ben select for Brisbane versus Sydney there?
Well, I'm happy to tell you, Colin. Let's
That'll
just
be the
actually
last.
go through the team list of the Brisbane Breakers while we're here.
Oh, we haven't yet.
Let's talk about high vibes. This is a high vibes team. This is, Southeast Queensland stacked with one international. Ludovica, she selected the Vine brothers, Wesley and Travis. Now that was very interesting to watch the draft. I'm sure you boys followed along in the draft.
Absolutely.
The way the draft worked, there was a lottery. So number one pick was allocated to a random selection, a lottery pick, all the way through to number 12.
Snake draft.
And then what happened was number 12 selection, which was the Brisbane Breakers, they got the first pick in the second round. So they actually got picks 12 and 13. And what we saw was that Wesley Vine was picked number 12, followed by his brother, Travis Vine. So the Vine brothers are both a part of the Brisbane Breakers, which is, I think it's a really nice fit. I think it's cool to see. And they're rounded out by Isha Lakhani, another Indian player. So, yeah, this team is heavily stacked, and that's why you can see it's a huge matchup with.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Brisbane won last year?
They did. They took it out. Yeah, they had 2 victories out of the 3 tournaments.
And Lou is the only player that has stayed on that team.
Wes was part of the Brisbane Breakers last year, I believe. Yeah. Oh, no, he wasn't. Sorry, he was Gold Coast Glory.
Yeah.
What's the story? Morning Glory. He was part of the Gold Coast Glory.
So, I mean, a lot of pressure on Lou. Back it up. No one's ever done a repeat.
Well, no one's ever done one. So that team made history.
And congrats to the Vine brothers for a new paddle sponsorship. Money does talk. And so I've actually seen them flip-flop a fair bit with paddles. Have you? They had those.
I haven't noticed.
They had those gearbox.
Oh, yeah.
Gearbox without the rims.
Mhm.
Weird.
That's weird.
They had 6-0.
Yeah. Oh, they're not with 6-0
And
no
obviously,
more.
mate, they signed with Engage.
Wow.
Yeah, the Queen, I think, might have had something to do with that. Sarah Burr, she might have a little whisper in their ear.
Little birdie chat.
So the boys are now hitting with Engage paddles. What's your paddle of choice, Ty?
I play with a Eula.
Is that how it's pronounced?
I think we agreed.
Moving forward, yeah, we agree.
Okay.
It's Eula. To be honest, I don't even know which one. It's really funny. Paddle is just feel. You have to have a really good feel with whatever paddle you choose. And I'm just not good at getting new paddles. Eula, if you're listening.
I'm just not good at getting new paddles.
So what I do, I use the same paddle for an entire year. And it's so dead. But it's my dead. I feel a dead paddle. And then all of a sudden I'll get a new paddle and holy shit, right? I'm just popping up everything in the kitchen. So Eula's my jam. Not for any other reason other than that's kind of just the first one that I had.
So this one will go down to the wire, we think, and it ultimately it actually could lead to another dream breaker.
Yeah.
Ben certainly believes so. It'll be 2-2 after the mixed and gender round. So that one will be one to tune in on.
Absolutely. Now, do we know they are going to be filming these?
Yes, they'll be broadcast on YouTube.
Will all matches be able to be seen, or are they going to do select
I don't believe they'll have more than one court being
filmed. So that's
filmed.
hopefully we can get maybe a word in about. Well, I'm sure they're
We'll
going
talk to the commission.
We'll talk to the
Commission's
exactly.
probably already all over it, mate.
Yeah, you just got to know
Yeah.
people.
I guess
don't you?
ultimately, Adam, the goal for this podcast is we'll come again after the Sydney tournament, have a bit of a debrief,
Correct.
see if our predictions were accurate.
Yes. See if Ben's predictions
That's
were
right.
accurate. He's really stuck his neck out here and he's making most of the predictions, which I think is awesome. And I think ultimately we'll have to get Ben
On this
his
show.
view for sure. So I guess that rounds out round one. Now there is a round two, but we won't go into it. We just really wanted to cover across all the players listed. That was really, exciting for all those players. Obviously there was lots of players that missed out. There is an alternate list. So if players are injured and can't compete, there is opportunities for other players who nominated to actually come onto a team. I guess tournaments themselves are actually bookended by, anyone can go and enter to play in the open division. Obviously, there's a registration process and there's a fee to play, to play, should I say. But it's a really good opportunity for really anyone to compete against these pros. The tournament does have a focus on the team event, and you have to be picked for that. But you can also register. So if you're interested in doing that, you can jump onto the Pacific Pickleball website. All right, so as we look forward to the first round happening in Sydney, like we said, 23rd, 25th of February, we can't wait to come back, talk about some results. We'll have a few players that we will actually end up calling to have on, get their opinion, get their views, which will be really exciting. We're going to have lots of locally based players coming in from time to time as well. We endeavour to follow this whole league from season 1 into season 2. So the episodes we released a bit sporadically. It's not going to be a week-to-week sort of podcast, but if you have listened, we really, really appreciate it. And we thank
sponsors.
We thank our sponsors. We've actually episode 1. We've already got sponsors. 2 sponsors, and we do want to say a big thank you to the Gold Coast Mortgage Broker.
Absolutely. Who has helped me personally buy my first home here in Australia.
And me.
And Ty.
Just remember, your bank won't tell you about a lower interest rate, but we will. And our other sponsor, California Tacos.
California Tacos. And our little slogan is "Shut up and eat it."
That sounds like something they'd say in jail.
It's actually "Eat tacos, be happy."
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's way more friendly.
And we're the winner of pretty much most Mexican food awards in Queensland. We got a location in Burleigh Heads, Broad Beach. This is all in Queensland. West End and Caloundra. Currently looking to grow more, but we are looking for more sponsors. So hit us up. Like I said, we've already reached out to Amazon, Meta. They haven't returned our emails just yet.
What was the email address? Info at?
I'm started, hey, I'm just doing some door knocking at the moment. So definitely looking for some sponsors. This is obviously good fun. Pickleball is meant to be shared with, your best buddies, and that's exactly what we're doing here. And it's always just fun to be with these guys. So especially talking pickleball is a great honor.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. This has been Slam Jam, the podcast for the Gold Coast Mortgage Broker and the California Tacos. Tune in next time. We'll see you again.
Keep pickling.
Keep pickling. Pickle on.